There's only one guy of note that I really want to speak on when it comes to injuries. Is we're going to put Justin on IR. Man, we tried to see how we can get this other work right, but it wasn't getting as better as we would like it. All right, so we want to make sure we get a focus on that to make sure we get him better. I will have more information as the week goes as far as any other injuries that we have. When it comes to this team, man, this is a great opportunity for us to be able to play against a playoff team that's really fighting right now to see exactly how we'll operate against a team like this. Our guys are excited about it. Our players are ready to go. Our coaches are excited. Obviously, we have our practice today going into tomorrow. We have Christmas this week. And I tell our players this when it comes to weeks like this, that Christmas is not a distraction, but there are things outside of that can be a distraction. So we have to handle this week in a very professional way of understanding that family and friends, listen, we love when they're around, but we cannot make sure that can be a distraction to the players, that we focus on this game and make sure we give everything we can to go out there and win this game. So that's what we're looking forward to. Again, great team, great coaching staff. And again, we're ready to go and play this game in our home field in front of our fans, our last game in front of our fans. So we're looking forward to that. Any questions?
With Justin, do you know if he might have to get surgery or something like that?
Man, I'm going to let the docs really hone in on that. And if he does, this will be a great time to get it done. All right, so we can get it knocked out and get himself healthy. But again, I don't want to place that on him. I just know this, man, that we want to make sure that he get this thing healthy and get it ready.
With him now done, how disappointing is it the way it went this season?
You know, and I said this last time. This is for any player that doesn't have the season that we would like for them to have. That is always disappointing. So I don't want to just focus on Justin with this. And I know that's the question asked. But any player that we have high hopes for, and the season don't go the way we want it to go, we're always disappointed in that.
Do you anticipate him being back next year?
We'll see how that goes. We're focused on New England right now.
I had to ask.
I know you did.
With the explosive plays being given up on defense at times,
yeah.
A couple of lobby touchdowns last week, there have been explosives the last couple of weeks where the guy's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
What do you guys have to do to close the windows a little bit?
Yeah, we talked about that today as far as one of the things that has to be an emphasis defensively, and the coverage bust can't happen. The one thing I did explain to the players is the ball travels faster in the air than it does on the ground, and usually when that happens, that results to points. So we got to make sure that we don't allow those explosive plays, and a lot of that's just coverage discipline. And listen, I don't think we're one of the top teams when it comes to explosives, but, you know, we don't want explosives no matter what. So we have to fix those things. And that's one of the things we have to do. You know, everybody hone in on their job and everybody focus on their job. And you hear the phrase, do your job, but it's more or less do your job well.
Well, can you take away Mason playing this? I know.
Say it again.
Mason Taylor. Do you expect him?
Well, again, once we get all the information from the docs, I'll let you know how he progresses this week. But hopefully he'll be back at some point.
What can you take away from that first meeting with the Patriots? Because you've had a lot of personnel changes.
Yeah. I think that was the first week where we had AD and Mitch, you know, being a part of what we were trying to do. And I can recall Mitch having a pretty good game, that game. And I think AD had a couple of drops. And I think AD came back the next week and really proved that he can be a big-time receiver in this league. So I'm expecting those guys to do a really good job. I'm expecting them to try to hone in on our run game. They tried to do that the first game. I'm sure Brady's going to get some pressure. And on the defensive side, man, we have to figure out a way to slow down this quarterback because he's playing at a high level. So we'll see what's going to happen with their running backs. I know we had one of the guys got hurt last week. We'll see what happens with him. But we're always focused on stopping the run first, making the team one-dimensional, and then try to see if we can make plays on the ball.
Why has Diggs been so consistent for them?
Well, he's always been a high-level receiver in this league for a long time. That when he was in Minnesota to now, that doesn't change. And he's smart. He's confident. He's highly competitive. He understands how to win in zone and man coverage. And when you have a receiver of that caliber, usually the career kind of results in that of the yardage and the catches that they have. And like he's been doing it for a while.
With Breece Hall, he's gone 5 games in a row, averaging under 4 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what are some of the factors that have contributed to that? And then I just have a quick follow-up.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer that people know that he's a high-level running back, and usually, and I know as a defense coordinator myself, when you have a rookie quarterback that's in there, man, you're going to do everything you can to try to stop the run and force him to try to throw it. The thing that we have to do a good job of, and I know Brady looks forward to it each week, is, man, being able to have those one-on-one situations and those receivers that we have to try to create some explosive plays. So the one thing that we have to make sure we do is have patience. And there's been a number of teams who stacked the box on us, and we've been pretty successful running the ball. So if we just stay patient and continue to take those dirty runs like we usually do, at some point those runs are going to pop, and we look forward to seeing that.
And he only needs like 40-something yards to get 1,000.
Yeah.
It's been a while since that's been done around here.
Yeah.
Is there significance for you to see a player go over that threshold?
You know what? It is for him to be able to reach that milestone. Listen, we've been a team that's been trying to establish an identity of who we are since training camp, and that can change, depending on how your team looks year by year. And for him to be able to reach that milestone, I think he would tell you that it's more important for us to get wins. I know he will. Obviously, the season didn't go that way, but for him to be able to reach that, it's good, but I know he wants more. And I think that's the best way for me to answer that is, listen, he's happy about it. I'm happy about it, but there's more that we want to get out of that.
Take a couple more. Germaine, I don't think he's had a QB hitter like a sack since the last.
Say it again?
Germaine Johnson, I don't think he's had like a QB hitter sack in a few weeks. Just what you've seen out of him the last few weeks.
And I've said this before. Anytime you come off an Achilles injury, at a position like he's in as a defensive end, one, he has his hand on the ground. He has that stance where you have to explode and come out your stance. Second is being a 2-point stance. I think he's still working his way to be the Germaine that we all know, and he's going to continue to do that. And then obviously, man, we're playing against some pretty good tackles also, but he's not going to use that as an excuse. I know he feels the same way, that he needs to go out there and make the plays he can make to help us be successful on defense. So there's some patience with that, but there's also some improvement as the week needs to go for him to continue to get to where he's trying to get to.
Go Al and then Cox.
Aaron, you talked about don't let go of the rope,
Yeah.
never waver, stuff like that. Is that
Yeah.
the way you've always been? Is that something you picked up from, what you went through in Detroit where things got rough? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
Yeah, it actually it started in New Orleans. My first year there, and listened to Coach speak, Coach Payton, and those years before that. I know they were downtrodden. They went through a couple of bad years, and that was his speech with the players. And I knew what it was at that time, but just seeing how the players react to that, and the fight and the resolve they've had, to continue to play, that was the first time. And then obviously being in Detroit, seeing it as a coordinator, and now being part of, making sure I deliver that message also to a defense that, like, we're fighting our ass off each week to try to get these wins, and the wins are not coming. But the thing that we all know, in the same way here, it's the exact same way here, is there's things that people on the outside don't see that we see. And there's a belief in that. And with that belief, there comes trust amongst the players. And that's why our guys are still fighting their ass off right now, because they see it. Even though no one else will see it, they see it and they trust it. And we have to continue to go down that path of we have a vision. We know what that vision is. And, we're going to do everything we can to be to chase that and get it.
Cox, last one.
When I asked you about the Patriots the other day,
Yep.
You complimented Vrabel for the staff he put together up there.
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about that a lot, like building a staff. How difficult is that to do? Like for you last year, you're interviewing with all these teams.
Yep.
You got Detroit in the playoffs. You're preparing for the hat. You can't wait until you get the job officially to build your staff. Like you got to be talking to guys, and they have other opportunities. How challenging was that part of the job? Just kind of building yourself out as a first-time coach.
Listen, there's a number of great coaches in this league. And I think the one thing that that needs to be taught, you have to make sure is compatibility is important, and you try to make sure as a staff you try to build that, and sometimes your record might be really, really good, and you still might not be compatible as a staff. Sometimes your record is bad and you're compatible, but man, you're still trying to work those kinks out on like scheme-wise and roster-wise and things like that. But I was always told that at the end of the day, that man, your staff is the most important part of being a head coach, and it's always a work in progress. Because again, man, just like players come, players go, coaches come, coaches go, and you always have to try to make sure you build it with that in mind, of make sure everybody's compatible. And again, it's a number of great coaches in this league, and it's just part of it. Coaches come, coaches go.